Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gospel Tech Podcast. My name is Nathan Sutherland, and this podcast is dedicated to helping families love God and use tech. Today, we are going to be talking about pornography. Specifically, how do we help raise kids who are porn resilient? And if you can hear that, we have visitors. Our kids are on break, and they're just having an awesome time. And at the end of the day, you just know that if you hear that, like, I'm going to just keep rolling, and you may hear crowds of people run past me because this is real life, folks, and we still parent humans. And that's what we're doing. So the idea, though, of talking about porn resilient kids is not to make them porn proof. I want to drive this home really quick here at the beginning. The goal of this conversation is not for me to tell you how to make sure your kid never runs into any problems with images online. We are specifically talking about digital spaces, so social media, video games they play, tech that their friends have, tech in your own home. I cannot tell you how to keep it 100% safe. And if you really want 100% safety, I mean, running away from it is going to be your best bet. But here's what that won't work. Right now in the United States, 96% of teenagers have regular access to technology. Actually, the stats on this are fantastic. So let me share a few of these. 96% of teens have used the internet every single day. And of those, they were asked, well, how many of you use it almost constantly? 46%. So of the 96% who have it almost every day, nearly half of them would say they spend almost constant contact with the internet. By that, they don't mean, I think about it a lot, or like, I like to use it when I get home. They are saying what we're seeing with Common Sense Media. The average teenager is over 8 hours a day on using entertainment technology. They are saying they are checking it constantly. They're not on it all the time, but you have a smartwatch or you have a phone in your pocket, you have a device nearby, and you're constantly going back and you're checking it. But then there's this. It's ubiquitous, because I was like, well, but how does it break down? So there was a Pew Research study that found that that 96%, it's boys and girls, breaks down to specifically smartphones, because they do it on gaming consoles and like, what kinds of tech do you have? Smartphones are the most accessed. This doesn't mean that they have one for the way they did this research. It's, do you have regular access? So you know the code, you can get on the phone kind of thing. Boys and girls, it was 95% versus 97%. So right there in that national average of 96% have access. But then they looked at white, black, Hispanic, and it's 95, 94, 96% have regular access to a smartphone. 13 to 14-year-olds, 92%. 15 to 17-year-olds, 97%. Income bracket, less than $30,000 a year, up to 75, and then 75 and over was 94, 92, 96%. Urban versus suburban versus rural is 95, 97, and 91. So living in the country, some of those people don't have as much access either because of choice or because the technology, like some areas just aren't covered with good internet. If they're out in their rural locations, they might get it when they go to work or when they go to school, but then they go back home and they don't have access to it. But that's for smartphones specifically, which means this porn conversation, the reason I tell you that is this porn conversation is not protecting your child from pornography. It's protecting your child from their peers. The pornography is out there. It's not just waiting for them on the internet. It's not just waiting for them to make a bad query. It's in the culture. It's a norm for young people. I mean, the average age of exposure is coming from a 2024, based on 2023 numbers, 2024 study by Common Sense Media. Average age of exposure to pornography is age 12. 73% of teens have seen pornography. 3 in 4 teens have seen it. And of those, 58% say they viewed it on accident. So 3/4 of our kids have seen it. And over half of those kids who have seen it are like, I wasn't even looking for it. It found me. That's what we're talking about. Yes, that means that the other 32% found it on purpose. Like, okay, so the number said 32. I don't know what happened to the other 10%. So 42% should be the number, but be that as it may. Maybe it was just a typo in the research, because it doesn't explain what about the other 10% of this. I'm actually crunching on how you could get there if they were talking about the whole number, not just the 96% of teens who have access to the internet. But anyway, what I'm going to say with this is, I got distracted by myself. 58% of kids seen it on accident. while 42% have looked at it on purpose. Let's just throw that number in there for now. That's still a huge number of kids. We're not just protecting from the pornography. We're protecting from being distracted or exposed by our peers. And that's what we're talking about. Porn resilient children is the phrase I like to use. I got that in a conversation with Greta Eskridge, who wrote a great book on this topic that I'll bring up again in a little bit. But that's our baseline. So what do we do in light of all of this information? It's out there, kids are seeing it, and they're being exposed just by their peers, even on accident, when they're just trying to do their own thing, and yet it's finding them. Well, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna have a plan. Then we're gonna have a conversation. And third and finally, we're gonna build a hedge. The plan piece is you have to talk to your family about pornography. You just need to. It can start as young as 5 and 6. So we've talked to Hadley about her body. I love the Birds and Bees they have an Instagram, they have YouTube, but they have online resources. Go check them out. It's a mom and a grandma. They do a great job of talking drip by drip about sex and about your body and about design of what we're made for, and about pornography as well, of like, here's how you were made. Your body is good. You are designed well. All these things are great. And there's bad outcomes of it. This can go poorly for you if we don't handle it well. So little drips. And they'll say things like, use the correct names for body parts. You have to name the biological names for body parts. Penis is not a bad word. Vagina is not a bad word. Those are biological terms. You have to know them. One, it removes the shame about the body. Two, it allows your child to accurately describe if they are exposed to something or if something happens to them. Lord willing, that never occurs, but that is important. And third, it desexualizes those terms to the point where we can actually know that these are terms that reference our bodies. They're not just words that are being used on pornography or in reference to pornography. We can reclaim them as actual terms that humans use to describe the human body. They don't have to be trigger points for our kids. And if we talk to them about their bodies when they're young, and we do it in a healthful way, they don't have to be they don't have to be filled with shame or anything negative. So use the real words. That's Birds and Bees as a resource, and one of their statements when they talk about drip by drip. You just say the words and then you walk away. This doesn't have to be an hour-long talk. All right, so you're going to have a plan, and your plan is going to talk about where you use technology, when you use technology, and what content you are going to consume. I'm going to allow you to do this, so I'm not going to give you anything specific beyond some examples of ground rules. You would say something like personal devices don't go into rooms. This is a really nice, easy win for everyone because parents can model it and kids can follow it very easily. We pick a public space. This is where your tech can be used. This is where your tech can sleep. Awesome. You now have a conversation. They go, but why? Oh, because of this thing called pornography. Now, pause right there. If you're like, I would never tell my child the word pornography, they shouldn't have a personal device. If you can't say pornography and pedophile to your child, they are not ready for the wilds of the internet because they don't have words to express what they ran into. There are pedophiles online, much more than just in your average park. And you want to talk about the number of them that are looking for your kids and the access they have to your children. This is why I strongly discourage families from allowing their kids on Roblox, because Roblox has a disproportionately high number of predators. They know kids are there. The creepers show up and they are looking for young people. So, and that's not me. There's Hindenburg research is probably the most famous example in the last 12 months, but well documented that Roblox does a mediocre job of protecting our children while still making money off our children. Their stock is doing fine, their product, not so much. So Roblox is an example of like, lots of little kids play that. More than half their user base is teens and younger. So we want to make sure our child is safe. They have to know the word pedophile. They have to know the word pornography because they can run into it. Yes, even on Roblox. We don't have to go into that today. You're going to have a plan. You're going to talk about when you use it, where you use it, and what kind of technology is acceptable to use. The what is important. I like to use Philippians 4:8, where finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is pure, whatever is good. If there's anything at the end, if there's anything lovely or worthy of praise, excellent or worthy of praise, think about these things. That's a great starting point for our children. Say, hey, here's the standard God gives us for our hearts. And we then can tie it in with Galatians 5:22 and 23, verses 19 through 21, where we talk about the fruit of our hearts. But our hearts are focusing on the technology we use. And sometimes the content brings out negative worship. We celebrate things that, frankly, we shouldn't be celebrating. And so we want to talk to our kids about, hey, here's our appropriate level of, I have the 6 questions to ask of any technology. They were designed for video games, but it works with movies and it works with music. It's, what are the characters like? Or in this case, the artist, if it's music. What's the violence? Is it part of it or the point of it? The character is, would we have this person over for dinner? What's the language like? Is it helpful or harmful? Is it speaking truth or lies? What is the player experience like? Are there microtransactions? Are there behavioral hooks that are trying to get you to stay longer? What's the play time or the engagement time like? There are some shows your kid's going to get into it and you're like, there's 300 episodes and they're an hour a piece. Like, no, like we're not going to do this because you'll never be satisfied with how much you get to watch. And then the last one would be the content and the themes. What is this talking about? How does it do it? There's a right way to talk about hard things or to display difficult things in games and in movies. There's also a way where it shows it and like you kind of get that it's bad, but it also kind of was awesome. And I think that's going to be an important conversation for you to have with your kids. Pull the thing up on YouTube. Enter in the music, enter in the game, and just see what pops up. Look up the lyrics online. Look up the show on anything that has, like read through the plot. If you go through like an IMDb, you can look up the plot summary. You can even ask just AI if it's been an older show for a plot summary of what happens in the show. And it'll run you can just read like a couple sentences on each episode and get the general overview of, is this an appropriate, right? The difference between watching a superhero show like The Avengers and a superhero show like The Boys is going to be an important amount of delineation for you on whether or not you want to let your young person engage in that. So have a plan. It needs to be conversed clearly. If you need help with the plan, the Gospel Tech Framework is what that's designed. I designed the Gospel Tech Framework to help you have that conversation with your family. There's a PDF. You can download it and then watch these little 5 to 8 minute videos. And it walks you through both how do we think about the tech, and then the second half is how do we talk it out? How do we make a framework so that with those 6 areas are covered, the time and the place and the content and the safety. So you can do that. That's, oh my goodness, what is it? gospeltechworkshop.com. There it is. I'll link to it in the notes. So first is you have plans. Second is you talk it out. And this is you actually have to say the words with your kids. Yes, regularly, drip by drip, but also deliberately to say, hey, new technology is going to enter our house. We're certain that it's safe. We know that you're ready. We believe the fruit will be good. And the expectation is still you being healthful and growing before just giving you random tech. Always knowing that the tech is expendable because you're not, and returning to that frequently when they do well to say, you're using this great. I love watching how this tech improves your life. And when it's not, being clear with it. Like, and I love you. This tech doesn't seem to be helping. Do we need to change the tech? Do we just need to change the way we're using it, kind of the when and the where? Or do we need to just replace it? Okay, it needs to go away. We need some space, at least a month, according to Anna Lemke, who wrote Dopamine Nation. It takes a month for an overstimulated brain to come back. And that is including, yes, certainly smartphones and dopamine, but with pornography. She's very clear that that is another form of overstimulation we get in our culture. So we have a plan. We talk it out with our kids. Reset being a part of that, of saying, hey, the tech was safe, ready, good, but your reset's off. That is going to drive our relationships and conversations. If you don't know what that means, go back 2 episodes, listen to the reset one, and then pick this one up. And then third and finally, we're going to build a hedge. The hedges are intended as intentional technological boundaries and sometimes physical limitations and boundaries between our children and the crazy tech out there. So we know pornography is on the internet. We know pornography is in the lives of our kids' friends, sometimes just on accident, sometimes because of their siblings, sometimes because of just people in their lives that think it's funny to bring it up or to show it to groups. This happened at a Christian school in my area where the sports team was traveling on the bus. Coach is sitting up front and a kid pulls up pornography on his phone, shows it to the rest of the bus. A couple buddies think it's super funny. A couple kids were like, I've never even seen that before. And they're going to have one of 3 reactions, as Chris McKenna points out with Protect Young Eyes. It's like they're either going to be shame-filled, they're going to be really curious, or they're going to think that was awesome, right? Like they're going to be really excited about it. And all 3 of those are very natural responses, but those are responses we want to be there for. That same study about how much pornography have U.S. teens seen said that of the kids who've seen pornography, so the 73%, only 58% have talked to an adult about it. That is where we come in. If we have 3/4 of our kids seeing this and less than half of them have actually talked to an adult about it. That's not a foray we want them to take on their own. So we're going to build these hedges with a family conversation, with a plan in place. All right. When building a hedge, you're going to build one around your devices, one around your network, and one around your family. The family tech framework is the family part. This is the conversation. Oh, I just realized it got really loud when I was talking about Hadley. The way we talk to Hadley about her body is there's beautiful books like God Made All of Me, which is awesome. Good Pictures, Bad Pictures by Kristen A. Jensen is a great book to talk. This is the junior version is appropriate for 6-year-olds, doesn't use the word pornography, but talks about this is your body, God made it. Mom and dad they're pregnant, right? And there's another sibling coming. How does that happen? What is the plan for all of this? And when is your body appropriately being like, if mommy or daddy are helping you take a bath, that's appropriate. If you're in public and someone shows you their body, that was inappropriate. If there's a picture of someone else's body that's normally covered with a swimsuit, that's inappropriate, right? That's not safe for them and it's not good for you. And we love you and we want you to have good and safe things, right? Those are simple conversations that can be done quickly. And in this story, it's co-reading, so you don't have to it's not curriculum. It's very good. But Good and Bad Pictures is also great for the older age. And then I'll link to what Anna and I are using. I can't remember the name of it. There's one on the bodies as specifically for boys as they hit puberty is the one we're reading right now, which is the boys think is hilarious. And it's been really great from everything from when their friends' voices start changing to when their own bodies start growing. Like it's awesome for them to already have some context and to be able to reference that and trying to tell us what's happening. Like that's been super cool. But then also a conversation specifically on sex and pornography that is kind of the more intensive overview of the content where you just want to make sure, hey, we've talked about it. You now know the words. We've made sure that you understand how biologically work and also how mentally and spiritually this impacts us as people. So the hedges around our family, that's part of the conversation piece. Then the hedge around our devices. You need accountability. I love using Covenant Eyes on my device. I don't have any social media on my device. Basically, if your kid's going to have a smartphone, it needs to be a smartphone that has accountability. Starting with the Gab phone, which has no app store, no web browser, very safe. Then Bark, which has the ability to release a browser and the ability to release apps one at a time. Meaning you need WhatsApp for sports, you just get WhatsApp. Now you want to earn the right to use something like Snapchat or TikTok. Let's talk about that. What's the benefit here? What's the net gain loss? And if we decide, yes, this is going to be a benefit for you because we love you, we're giving this thing to you, you can release just that app. That's a great resource that allows accountability because there's the Bark software on there. So it watches conversations and search history and things like that, specifically looking for unsafe individuals, relationships, self-harm. If your child looks up things on eating disorders, or if someone writes them a mean note, you'll get a notification for a conversation. I believe they're like daily reports, so they're not instantaneous. So you won't find out third period that your kid got a mean text. I'm expecting the relationship is there so your child can let you know. And if they don't, you'll find out at the end of the day with like the end of the day report. So that's the building the hedge around the device piece. The device needs to be accountable. You need to know what's happening on there. I know we want to be so optimistic that our child wouldn't do those things, but think about your own life and the times you made mistakes, online or offline. Like most of us weren't the hellbent prodigals. Most of us were people trying to make pretty good decisions, and we could usually find people doing it worse than us. And yet, in my life, for example, I grew up going to a Christian school, Christian parents raised in a Christian home. I loved making good choices, and I grew up in an era of dial-up internet, which is the internet that shouted at people that you were getting online. There's no way to sneak this, and it's never fast. You're usually starting with like the AOL CD to get 500 free hours or minutes or whatever the thing was, right? Like that was my internet experience, 28.8 kilobytes per second was my dial-up internet speed at home. And I made mistakes online with images on purpose growing up. So I'm not here to tell you that, well, as long as your child knows the Bible, he or she will never make a mistake. I'm saying the mistakes are out there to be made. Yes, boundaries. Yes, loving conversation. Yes, all of these important things and some accountability, please, because we have the resource now. We didn't used to. It comes at a cost. Covenant Eyes is like $25 a month. And I know that can be expensive. It can go up from there if you want to add filtering so that they can't search certain images or sites or whatever. Mine is currently, I can search whatever I want I'll explain that a little bit. I can search whatever I want, but two other people will always see it because I don't have third-party apps on an iPhone. The apps can't, Covenant Eyes doesn't work within them, and Covenant Eyes works within apps on Android. So that being said, if you have the Instagram app on an Android device, Covenant Eyes can pick that up. On an iPhone, it cannot. So I have to use Instagram through my browser. It's fine. I can still get where I need to go. I use it for work, but I don't need the constant distraction. I don't need the ability to make anonymous mistakes. I like making good choices. So the other thing I've done for my phone, consider this for your young people or for yourself, is I've put my phone on parental controls. I set up parental controls. I set a password, and on the parental controls, I locked Safari as my only browser, and I got rid of the App Store, and I got rid of all social media, including YouTube, even though I use that for work. Like, this video will be on YouTube. It can be a great resource, and I'm so ADD and distracted, I don't need that, and I don't need the opportunity to find loopholes to bad decisions. So I've locked it. I had a friend set the 4-digit code, and my phone is as dumb as iPhones can get. It's great. It has all the apps I have. I still show them, or all the apps I need. I still show them blue in family group chats. And it's been a great phone. I'm very pleased with that. I'm recording this conversation on it right now because it's so much better than even my DSLR camera in terms of ease of use and video quality. So this is what we do when we talk about pornography, or when we talk about raising kids who are porn resilient. Please know it's out there. Please inform yourself on it. If you need some research to gain the confidence with this, you can go to things like fightthenewdrug.org. They do a great job of collecting research and talking about what does it do to our brains, what does it do to our hearts, what's it do to society. If you need some loving child resources, you can go check out the resources in the link notes, but things like Good Picture, Bad Picture, and God Made All of Me. If you have had a history with pornography and it's been hurtful, Lust-Free Living, the Samson Society, and there's a third one that's escaping my brain right now. But there are some great organizations who work in helping people pursue Christ over their own flesh, really doing that Romans 8, 3-5 thing of setting our minds on the things of the Spirit. A group can help you with that. My concern with those is always we begin to rely on other people for our accountability. At the end of the day, it's always a walk with Jesus. We have to want a Savior and recognize our need. And in doing that, he breaks those chains, helps us repent and see our own need. And it goes way deeper than did you look or not look at pictures. It goes down to our hearts and our thoughts. That's what Matthew 26-30 is all about, is that I don't just mind if you have adultery. I matter if you set your mind on taking your satisfaction from someone else who's made in the image of God. That's what Jesus is after. So there's freedom out there. You can live free. There's a great groups helping you learn to walk in freedom. And at the end of the day, setting up healthy boundaries will help you, but it isn't the thing that's making you right. God's Spirit is. It's going to change you because you're using that as an outlet because of a breakdown somewhere in the faith and the gospel, right? Mine was control. I wanted to feel good on my terms, on my timing, because porn never says no. So I was finding it wasn't actually a lust thing. It wasn't related to, well, have I been intimate recently? It was, am I stressed? Am I hungry? Am I lonely? Am I sad? And now I want to feel good on my terms. Well, I don't play video games anymore because that was the other thing I misused in an unhealthy way to cope with the stresses of life. And this was a quick second. They're both related on the internet. They're both one tab away. And so they had this really unhealthy tandem relationship in my life. That's what we're looking to teach our children about. Not just don't look at this, but your heart needs to look at Jesus. And when you do, and you're saved and made into a new creation, the flesh doesn't always just fall away. You have bad habits. You got ruts in your brain from repeating a behavior, and you need help. You need support. You need new habits. That's all true, but it's coming because you're a new creation in Christ, because the old is dead and the new has come. That's what we're looking to emphasize for our children. That's the point of being porn resilient. Please know this is an important conversation. And when we're all having it, it doesn't have to scar our kids. They don't have to be curious and go slink away somewhere and search up the words we said to them. In fact, saying those words out loud is helpful. Sam Black, I'll end on this. Sam Black works with Covenant Eyes, and he's their VP of recovery. And he notes that the best thing we can do is lovingly talk about these hard situations with our children repeatedly, and encourage them to come to us when they have questions. So you have your safety net around your internet, around your smart TVs, around your smartphones and the old phones that don't have internet anymore, but can still get on Wi-Fi, the burner phones. And we have to build that conversation up early and often, talking about God's plans, their bodies, the goodness of intimacy and relationship, and the lie of pornography, so that our kids, when 96% of them are spending time every single day online and over half of their peers have seen porn on accident, that our children will know what they've seen, they know where they can go, and they'll know what is true about them, that they're children of God, that making a mistake does not make them a mistake, and that porn is a lie. It is not an accurate representation of what God has designed for sex and for them. So I hope this encouraged you and equipped you. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me, nathan@gospeltech.net. You can also go to us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Love God Use Tech. Share it with friends if it was helpful and beneficial, and then join us next week as we continue this conversation about how we can love God and use tech.